3 this week and a tough test up at Sale. Let's just reflect a little on last week. You were frustrated that you couldn't quite get over the line last week.
Yeah, listen, don't mind saying what I said to the players straight after the game. If we'd have won, we could have won that game by 2 points by us kicking one more penalty, then missing one decision go the other way at the end of the game. Whatever you want to talk about. Plus, we could have been better. All right, just fractionally better. We just sneaked that game, and we're probably really pleased. One win out of 2, feeling pretty good. So nothing's dramatically changed by the fact we lose by 1 point. 98% of that game could be exactly the same. 99% of that game even could be the same. And we come away with 4 points. And we kind of go, oh, well done. Actually, we battled through there pretty well. And that's how you've got to approach it with the players. Because if you do it any differently to that, you're just not being true to what actually happened on the day. So we've looked at the good stuff and we've looked at the bad stuff and we're getting on with it. Is it as good as I want it to be? No. Is it as good as the players want it to be? No. But that doesn't mean we can't get on with things. We've never been a team that's got heartbroken about every loss, and we've never been a team that's over-celebrated every win. And that can't change, because that's, once you change from that, you're just a team of highs and lows, and teams that are just teams of highs and lows don't get anywhere.
You're not a million miles away though, don't you?
Yeah, we're a bit off in a few areas. It's interesting, I've just said in an interview there, we never used to get the credit for the work we used to do to get 5 metres out, because everyone used to say, oh, they're deadly from 5 metres. And now, what people aren't realised, people are focusing on our 5 metres again and saying, oh, they're not as good from 5 metres. But the truth is, we're not as good for the first 95. It's not, the last 5 metres actually isn't our problem. We're not getting there as much as we should, because the mistakes we're making over the other 95 metres. And that's much more my focus than is a maul quite as good as it could be, or is our pick and go quite as good as it could be. I'm much more concerned about the other 95 metres, because ultimately that's what wins and loses you the games.
And obviously going to Sale, we know it's a notoriously tough fixture on the calendar, but probably a good challenge for you at this time.
Yeah, of course it is. Sale are a good side. We can go there playing really well, really confident, fully loaded, and lose. We've done it loads of times before. It's a tough challenge, but one we should be looking forward to. I think for me, I just want the guys to just kind of unleash themselves a bit. I still think we're playing within ourselves a little bit, if I'm honest. I don't think I've seen any one player have the game of their life, or the game of the season, or one of those games where they go, look, you've absolutely got to pick me next week and for the next 5 weeks, because look at where I'm going as a player. I just like to see a little bit of that verve and that little bit of kind of bounce about us. I understand why it might not be there. They're thinking about the game probably maybe a little bit too much. They're worrying about the game probably a little bit too much. But those things will come. We've never had a season where we've not been able to turn a couple of losses around, and I'm not expecting that to be a problem this season either.
A bit like ourselves, Sale are a few down, but again, they are a side that are developing under Alex Sanderson. What sort of threat will they pose? Well,
probably this week the biggest threat they'll be frustrated with last week. They got out of the blocks, they were in command of the game, and they've let it slip down to nearly losing it at the end. Whereas we did lose it on a late penalty, they kind of had a ball ricochet off the post, and it kind of saved the draw for them. So they'll be frustrated with that, and obviously, they'll have a bit of payback for us knocking them out in the semi-final last year. Emotionally they'll be ready for it. They're at home. It's going to be a great challenge for us.
Your training stocks are looking better though by the week. They seem to be getting more and more people potentially available.
Yeah, we're gaining a few and losing a few as you do. It looks like I can't say who it is, but it looks like we might have lost another back 5 forward from last week this week as well. So, which is obviously frustrating, but the numbers will return. But I don't really want to focus on the numbers. I want to just focus on how we're playing, and because that encompasses everybody, that encompasses the whole training group. And I think there's still a fair bit more we can get out of this group, and I think they know it. I think they're a bit frustrated by it, and it's just my job to just get them in line, get them focused on the here and now, and not on things they can't change or they can't influence, but just getting on in the here and now.
A glance at training this week though, the boys are playing or training with a smile on their face. There's still a bubbly feel amongst the place, but they know they've just got to maybe crack on a bit.
Yeah, well they should be. They're very fortunate. It's a privileged position, this, to be the coaching or playing or whatever it is in a professional sport, and you can be frustrated and you can be annoyed by things that have happened. That's one thing. But actually, nobody died. We lost by a point, and we're slightly frustrated by it. But we lost to Northampton last year, and we still finished second in the league. We've lost games before. People need to remember we didn't go unbeaten the year we won a double. So how do we expect the players to behave, and how do we expect everyone to behave when we have a loss? We expect them to pull the bootstraps up and get on with it. And that's always been my opinion. That's what I expect to see from them now. I expect guys to just get on with things and get up and get on with it, and not walk around feeling sorry for themselves, but just show a bit of fight and a bit of spirit.
The media are asking you, Rob, are you under pressure? Do you feel under pressure, or do the team feel under pressure?
I don't feel under any more pressure now than I would have done if we'd have won 3 games. This is what people don't quite understand, is that there's always a pressure for the next thing that happens. That's what's great and bad about sport. You know, the only time you don't feel under pressure at the weekend is in pre-season. That, you know, I've said it loads of times in interviews when we're in the middle of pre-season, you sit there and you see me smiling, you go, oh, pre-season's going well, and I'm a bit like, yeah, pre-season's going great. We're coaching and we're doing stuff, and we haven't got to have a game this weekend. You know, but sooner or later, that's not what sport's about. You get to your performances and you get to have to collect points. And at the moment, we haven't collected the points we need. But, you know, we've got to fight hard to collect them down the line.